Oh, balance patch alert, balance patch alert. Nice, nice, nice. We were just introduced to the 5.0.13 PTR patch notes. Mind you, this is the PTR patch notes, which means that changes are to be tested. But knowing Blizzard, this is not necessarily just testing patch. I think the balance changes are going to be implemented no matter what happens. Well, of course, depends what the changes are. Let's take a look at that. It's been a while since we had a balanced patch notes. I'm really curious about it. There's also a map pool update. We have Golden Aura, Side Delta, Ocean Board, which we had before. And we have Post-Youth, Amphion, Crimson Core, Dynasty, Alcyone, which we had before. And Ghost River. So 4 of the maps stay and 5 maps added in here. I will not be talking about these maps since we don't have many maps here. But looks like there's an update for the 2v2, 3v3 and 4v4. But this is not the point of this video. Let's go straight into the balance update. General, worker attack range increased from 0.1 to 0.2. So a slight increase in the attack range. Does this mean that it will be easier for, let's say, probes or drones to attack a building Terran SCV structure? So because sometimes it looked like the either an engineering bay or a bunker is being built and there's a probe or a drone is very close to the SCV, but not close enough to attack. So I suppose this is going to be helping with this. Interesting change. I did not see this one coming. Worker inner radius collision with surrounding structures reduced. That is to make the workers basically go on a different path than any other unit can. So to create only worker path ways on the new maps or future maps. That's a very interesting change. Can definitely change the way that the maps are played in StarCraft 2. As you can see here, this little drone is moving through the pathway here and the Reaper is trying to chase it, but it cannot chase it. So very, very cool. Reduce footprint size of Vespene geysers. Zerg rocks now lose HP of creep. Zerg rocks now lose HP of creep, which means we are getting introduced to a new type of rocks on the maps, which lose HP over time in the game, as the game starts, I suppose. This is what we are going to be seeing. Definitely also a different kind of thing that we will be seeing in StarCraft 2. It gives map makers more things to work with. That's interesting, because a lot of the times we do see players move around the map with huge armies or even small armies, and the rocks are still there throughout the entire game, even they are killable. So right now, the players will not have to kill the rocks, because the rocks are going to be destroying themselves if the map maker is going to be using the Zerg rocks, of course. That's pretty cool. Mineral fields now all have 500 HP. Wait, what? Mineral fields have HP? Can you kill them? Wait, what? I hope it doesn't mean what I think it means. I hope this doesn't mean that you can actually destroy the mineral fields. I think this is only purely for the purpose of destroying the mineral fields with a rock tower, collapsible rocks. I think this should be, written a little bit differently, because it does make you feel that you can actually destroy mineral fields here. Okay, I think this is just meant for the tower fields. All right, back to the actual balance changes here. Terran, Liberator, advanced ballistics range bonus reduced from 3 to 2. Certainly, a good change. I think Liberators are very oppressive in the extra late game versus Protoss. I think it's very hard to get in range of the Liberators. Most importantly, the freaking advanced ballistics Liberator harassment on the middle lines. Super annoying to deal with. So easy for the Terran to do, shift click around the map, especially in the late game. And that's it. It definitely requires far more response for the defender to deal with those Liberators. I'm mostly looking at this, of course, from the Protoss side of things, not necessarily Zerg or Terran. So this is a good change for me. I'm not sure if this will make a huge difference. It's just one range, so I'm not looking too far into it, but this is a good change. Widowmine. Ooh, Widowmine. What do we have here? Invisibility while reloading now requires drilling close upgrade instead of a constructed armory. So the Widowmines are finally going to be visible even if they shoot while the Terran has the armory. Because right now, once you create an armory as a Terran player, your Widowmines are cloaked indefinitely, even if they shoot. So right now you need the drilling close upgrades in order for them to be permanently cloaked. I think that's a great change. I never liked this idea of Widowmines being permanently cloaked because you have an armory. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I never liked this, so finally, we're basically getting back to the place that we had before, where drilling close basically gives you the cloak on the Widowmines. All right, splash damage radius reduced from 175 to 1.5. Ooh, that could be a big change for TVZ, for like how many links can die from a single Widowmine shot or Banelings. Also for how many workers can get killed in the middle lines when they get slightly clumped up. This is a very good change, very long time coming change, I think, for the Widowmines. Absolutely. I love these two changes. Widowmine is very, very oppressive. Now gives an attack alert to the enemy when burrowing in range of enemy units. So basically, once the Widowmines are starting to burrow in your range of your units, you're gonna hear the "you are under attack" or something like that. Because right now, the way that the game works, the Widowmines burrow, you don't hear anything unless you see it on the minimap, and then the Widowmine shoots, your units get killed, and then you get the alert, you are under attack, your probes are under attack, and stuff like that. So right now, as the unit is burrowing, gives you more time to react to the Widowmines. Very good change, especially for the lower level plays. I don't think it will have any, well, it will have some kind of impact on the pro player and like high level of play, but this is mostly for a low level of play where the Widowmines is being unseen. You know, you don't watch the minimap every couple of seconds in the low level games, so you'll basically it will basically give you more time to react to the Widowmine drop. And increased visibility of targeting line and targeted unit, just like shown here on the graph here. So it looks like it's like red. Oh, it becomes more red the closer it is to detonating, and the unit itself starts to be red itself, right? Am I saying it correct? Like it's targeting, yeah, the unit itself is also starting to glow red. Somewhat similar to the Seeker missile line. I like this change. I like this change a lot. Once again, very good change for the lower level of play. I think on the super high level play, you could kind of see which units are being targeted by the Widowmine. This will of course make it more helpful, even at the pro level, to distinguish which unit is being targeted by the Widowmine. Very good changes for the Widowmines. I'm very happy with this. I think very needed, and I think everybody can agree that this is the right approach for the Widowmine, because it's a very cheap unit, very oppressive unit, and this is a good set of changes to make sure that this is just less frustrating unit to play against. Armory. Cost reduced from 150-100 to 150-50. Okay, I don't mind this change that much. Now the armory has less impact on the game, because previously once you made an armory, you would have cloaked Widowmines immediately. So basically it is cheaper building in order to get, you know, yourself a Tor or the upgrade. So I see how it is. That I'm fine with this change, because it basically gives you less impact on the game once you have the armory. Engineering bay. Infantry weapons armor upgrades cost reduced from 175 to 50 to 100, 150 to 100. Now, this is one of the changes I did not want to go through, because I'm not sure why that is. They basically want to compensate for the Terran nerfs, right? With the Liberators, Widowmine, and, well, armor is a buff. And they compensate that by giving the Terrans faster upgrades or like more affordable upgrades. I never thought Terrans cannot really afford the upgrades. I think Terrans upgrades are the most impactful in the game because of how fast the DPS of the Terran infantry is. I think this is a bad change. I'm against this change. I think, as most importantly, this is not a necessary change. Terrans are not struggling at this moment. Terrans are not struggling to create upgrades. I disagree with this change, and I don't like this. It might not have that huge impact on the game. It might make timings of like with 2-2 in TVZ, I suppose, more impactful. Maybe in TVP as well, with like Ghosts and Vikings. I just disagree with this change. I don't know where this is coming from, other than we want to make Terrans feel less bad about the patch notes and we want to give them something in return. I don't like this. Cyclone. Weapon cooldown increase, so it shoots slower by, well, 0.10. 0.1, I should say. Lock-on now cooldown increase to 3 seconds, basically. Okay, damage bonus per weapon upgrade increase from 1 to 2. You get +2 damage per upgrade on the Cyclone instead of 1. Weapon now has turret tracking, turns faster, remove damage points. Not sure exactly what this means. And health increase from 110 to 130. So both nerfs and buffs to the Cyclone. The nerf is that it shoots slightly slower, and you can kind of out-micro the Cyclone with lock-on on cooldown. I think lock-on having no cooldown whatsoever was absolute bullshit as well, because you could pull probes for the Cyclones and they would just run away and lock in everything. Just run away, basically like phoenixes. They would have no reason to stop by. Right now, at least you will have a bit of I don't know, a bit of time to react to how Cyclones are going to be dealing damage. At least give you some kind of counterplay to even when the unit is being locked on, you can pick it up by a warpism. Make sure that the Terran cannot deal as much damage, and there will be a 3-second delay. So I like this. This gives counterplay while not nerfing the Cyclone completely to the ground, I think. And then health increase. Do we really need that? Like, again, we are nerfing a unit that is very oppressive in all of the matchups. I never liked the new Cyclone that we currently have in the game. I think the unit is just bad for the game, but we keep on changing it. I don't think it needs the 20 HP. I think the 20 HP is a bigger buff than the nerf from this. Or lock-on could be a significant nerf for sure because of the micro, but in the general power of the unit, I think the Cyclone is a winner of this nerf or buff. I think it comes out stronger than weaker. Well, we will see how the micro will be working here with the lock-on. I'm not certain about it, but I'm not sure if we really need that 20 more HP on the Cyclone. Once again, I think this is the kind of a buff to the Terrans to make them feel better about the patch notes here. Raven, interference matrix can no longer target units already targeted or affected by interference matrix. So I think that means you can kind of like target the other units, so you don't mistakenly do interference matrix twice on the same unit. Maybe you can like rapid fire all the units as well in case you want to rapid fire. Interesting change. Definitely a buff, but makes either Raven easier to use. I'm fine with that. All right, that's all for the Terran. I'm not too sad about the Terran changes. I'm just not sure about the buffs though. For I think the eBay block and the health of the Cyclone, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Zerg. Hash wheeler hive, crit spread radius increased by 1. All right. Infestor, fungal growth range increased from 9 to 10. Vision range while burrow reduced. Okay. Unburrowed time increased. Not too much though. Burrowed infestor is now more visible while moving. Okay. So a small buff to make sure that the infestor can throw down fungals from kind of a safe space, but makes it harder to make a surprise infestor here, I suppose. Right? This is what it is. So the fungal is higher range from 9 to 10, so it can reach more units from safer distance. But if you want to make it a surprise infestor, like it's very, very often seen in Terran versus Zerg, now it's more visible while moving. And the unborrowed time is slightly longer, so it gives the player more time to react. I'm fine with this change. Fungal growth has not been a big factor in PvZ that much. Maybe that's because it was on the range 9. Now it will be, I think, back to 10, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see how it will impact the Protoss versus Zerg, but I'm fine with these changes. Overlord. Transport Overlord morph time increased from 12 to 15 seconds, so it morphs longer. And move speed increased a bit. And with the speed, it increased as well. I guess they really want to make the transport, the dropper lords a thing. I don't think it will have any significance. I think Dark is going to be really happy with this change. Dark, even right now and in all the previous patches, he really liked the dropper lord all-ins versus Protoss. I don't think he used much of that versus Terran. Serral is using even a lot of dropper lords versus Terran. We'll be trying to see more dropper lords because of this change. I think it will make the queen drops all-ins, it will make them a little bit stronger, but I don't think it's a big issue here. So I'm fine with this change so far. And finally, for Protoss, okay, what do we have here? Protoss Observer, build time reduced, nice, from 21 to 17 seconds. Why do we have these numbers, by the way? Like, can it be just 21 to 18? Like, why is it so precise? Nobody cares. 3 seconds faster Observer, sure. Health shields increased from 40 to 20 to 40, 30. And model size increased by 10%. Again, I think they keep increasing the model size of the Observer all the time until it's freaking big that it's no longer hidden. Like already the Observer is very visible to the pro players, and the lower level players, they don't care. So okay, I'm not like I don't get it. And the surveillance mode animation speed increased. Okay, so it just goes faster. Okay, I see. So it's a, let's say, slight buff for the speed increase, but the model increase, I don't get where this comes from. I don't get it. Just keep it as it is. And then health shields increased. I think this what makes the biggest difference is in PvT, because I believe with this with the previous health, the Widow Mine does one shot an Observer if it's, you know, nearby from the splash damage. Right now with this health 40 to 30, the Widow Mine splash damage will no longer one shot the Observer from the splash damage itself. I think that's a very good change, necessarily needed. I think for Protoss versus Terran, and should not have any impact on other matchups. Maybe for PvZ it takes, you know, 2 more Queen shots, but it's not really that big of a deal. And Observers are already like very easy killable and very important to keep alive. Sentry. Damage increased from 6 to 6 plus 4 versus shields, light attribute tag removed. Alright, I think this is a very big buff for the Sentry in PvP. I was already testing this change a lot in the custom games, in PvPs, and it drastically changes the way that Protoss versus Protoss works. And I'm unsure if we need both of that. Maybe just one of them would be good enough. I think this one would be better, because right now, SENTRY is a unit that feels easily killable by everything that the Protoss has, and it doesn't deal any damage. So right now, with the changes, the SENTRY will have more damage versus just shields, more damage versus just shields than with +3 attack immediately into the game, because it's 6 plus 4, and if you have +3 attack, it will be 9. So even before any upgrades, you deal more damage with +3 attack immediately into the game. It definitely changes the interactions of early game Protoss versus Protoss. It might encourage more SENTRY play, maybe even SENTRY heavy play in Protoss versus Protoss. Of course, this doesn't change anything in other matchups, but this changes a little bit in the other matchups. Hellions, for example, will have a harder time killing the sentries, which will make them maybe possible to put into a wall of versus potential Hellion run-bys. I'm not sure about any other matchups. Maybe PvZ for Banelings, right? Banelings will no longer deal additional damage. I think sentries really needed that change. I like this. I like the way it is, and I'm curious to see in which direction the Protoss versus Protoss is going to go with these changes. I think we will no longer see lots of aggression, or maybe a different kind of aggression, because I think lots of sentry openings are going to come up much stronger after the patch, definitely because of more damage and light tribute tag removes, which means that the sentries no longer need to fear adepts, and you can even fight the adepts with just the sentries now. So interesting change, will definitely change Protoss versus Protoss here. And pylon sight range increased from 9 to 10. Okay, just more vision, sure. That's all the balance changes. There's some more bug fixes. Let's see if there's anything interesting here. Siege tank turret now tracks previously attacked unit. In issue here. Issue. I know there was one change that I wanted to talk about. Generating creep now activates all overlords. Okay, lurkers of group rate increased, blah blah blah. Fix an issue where immortals would not fire while surrounded by units or covered by forces. This is what I wanted to talk about. So there's this, I guess it was a bug. It was always a bug. But when the immortal was like stuck in 3 force fields and it was trying to get away, it would not attack. It would just try to move around. If the stalkers or marauders or siege tankers or whatever were trapped, they would still attack, and the immortal would never attack. So I had this idea of, making sentry focused attacks to trap the immortal in a triangle of force fields to make sure that the immortal doesn't shoot, but now it will be no longer possible. So kind of one of my micro tricks gets taken away from the game. I'm a bit sad about it, but then on the other hand, it only affected PvP, while the other bugs could also affect PvZ, where the Zerglings were like surrounding the immortals a lot, and then the immortals would not shoot because of that bug. So I think this is a good change. I think this is not necessarily like just a bug fix. It should be kind of, it should be like more visible, because it is also a balance change. Immortal turret now tracks previously attacked unit, whatever that means. Tooltip on Mothership Cloak Field, various issues with recalls. All recall abilities now cancel at the Psynix transfer. Feedback no longer units with no energy. So I think this is the same thing as the Raven Inference Matrix. No longer target units already are targeted or affected by Inference Matrix. So basically you can kind of rapid fire feedback now, right now, versus Vipers, I think, or Ghosts even. That's going to be quite useful. This should also be in the balance change, I think, because it does make a difference. A lot of the times when you try to feedback a clumped up of units of, let's say, Vipers or Overseers, you would feedback the same unit multiple times. This will be no longer the case. Tempest Tectonic Destabilized upgrade now also applies to attacks targeting flying buildings. So right now, when the Tempest had the building damage upgrade, it could kill the buildings on the ground with the addition of the damage. But once the Terrans lifted the buildings, the upgrade will no longer be available, because it is a flying building instead of a ground building, because it was only a ground attack. So this is also kind of like a balance change here as well, but I see what it is. Fix an issue where the gunnership would not apply to units on a different cliff level. Okay, I didn't know about that. Issue of certain investment gather would not apply to visually. Fix the various issues. Healing shrines. All right. So that's all for the balance changes. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. For me, this is a good patch. I think from my side, this is a good patch. The only thing I really let's say passionately disagree with, is just the engineering by infantry weapons upgrades for the Terran. But other than that, I think each race got something to work with. I think the biggest issue was the Widowmine, and it is heavily changed for good, I think. It still remains the power that it had before, but it makes it easier to at least find some kind of counterplay with it. So I'm quite happy with this patch, and also giving more work for the map makers to have, you know, the workers travel pathways only, and have the Zerg rocks introduced right now as well, and having the rocks collapsible to kill minerals. That's very cool. We can definitely see more flexibility, more freestyle for the maps to the future. And yeah, I think that's basically my opinion about it. I'm happy to test it out. I don't think any of these changes are going to be changed. I think these balance changes are going to be implemented into the game. But I think what the PTR is for is to check if there are any bugs with these kind of changes, if we need to take a look at something. So once again, let me know in the comment section what you think about this balance patch. Is this enough to make Protoss actually competitive in the very high level of StarCraft 2? Maybe it will make PvP more fun to play. We will see in this after the patch comes through. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye bye.